Do you ever feel like this world wasn't quite meant for you? Today I'm going to talk about someone who I don't know personally, but who for years now has been very close to my heart. It might actually be hard to talk about this without crying, but we're going to try. She's a folk artist who I believe is finally beginning to get her flowers. She is a missing persons case to this day, and her name is Connie Converse. Connie is actually the reason I named this show Amongst the Lilies. She has this song called I Have Considered the Lilies. And if you don't know, it's a song with biblical roots. Her father was a pastor, but I think it has a much deeper meaning. And at first, I didn't think much about it. I listened to her music kind of passively, but as I dove into her album back in 2019, 2020, I couldn't help but notice this feeling of otherworldliness or like escapism. You could tell that like in her ballads and her songs there's this whimsy but also this need to escape, need to like longing for something else or somewhere else. And I caught on to this before I even looked into her backstory, but if you don't know, Connie Converse was a folk music singer and songwriter in the 60s and 70s. And she mostly just played for friends. She also did study music classically, but she struggled to make a career out of it. And she actually was on David Cronkite's show, I believe. But that's her only major public appearance. She actually gave up on her pursuit in New York literally months before Bob Dylan showed up and started the folk revival, which is honestly one of the saddest parts of the story for me. And she lived to her 50s, I believe. She was also an activist and got into a little bit of trouble here and there with the whole Red Scare thing. I believe if it's not out already, there is a documentary coming out about her that I haven't watched yet, but I am really excited about. And basically, she left a note one day and disappeared in her Volkswagen Beetle and was never found again. And her family even hired a private investigator to try to find her. And basically, the private investigator was like, if she doesn't want to be found, I can't find her for you. And so they gave up. And that is why she is still a missing persons case. But in her note, she said something that echoes in my soul, along with so many of her lyrics. But she said, let me go. Let me be if I can, and let me not be if I can't. And that's like, it's sad, but it's also inspiring at the same time. She was so good at keeping this like balance between the two. Oh, I am getting a little bit emotional. This woman, there is a possibility she's still out there somewhere. It's slim, but there is. And she has she's impacted me so much. I have made a print years ago. I made this art print because I'm an artist, by the way. I do have a shop. We'll talk about that later. I made a Connie Converse tribute poster, inspired by a lot of the 70s, 60s and 70s posters that we've seen, right? And no one bought it. I would give it to friends or whatever, and I'd explain, I'd give the backstory. And once I gave the backstory, people were usually interested in the print. But most people did not know who she was. And now people are coming up to me and being like, oh my gosh, you have a Connie Converse print? Or I've even had shops that normally they order wholesale for me and they're ordering Connie prints. And I'm just so. My cat is shaking the table. Thank you, buddy, for bringing my comedic relief. It warms my heart so much that people know who she is now and that other people are connecting to her music. Because here's the thing, like I said, the only public appearance that she really made was on that David Cronkite show. And so most of her recordings and stuff were just on these cassettes. And baby, baby, hey, my cat is in my lap now. Like I said, she had not made many appearances, and she certainly did not have music out. Spotify didn't even exist, right? Someone found her music on a radio show where they went through old cassette tapes, like old records, lost media type thing, right? That's how they found her. And then they published her music, and next thing you know, the whole world is connecting with it, right? And obviously the attention around her has grown over the years, but like it's taken some time, but still she never really got to that point herself, even though her stuff is just incredible. I am currently, I've only gotten one part of it, but I'm actually getting a whole back piece done by my best friend based on the song Man in the Sky. And that song is it's a ballad. It's a cautionary tale about a woman who is so tired of men on Earth. They've just all disappointed her. So instead, she starts yearning for the constellation Orion. And she yearns so hard for him that she jumps into the sky. And it's this beautiful story about her like jumping across all of these constellations. And she says she rocked in Cassiopeia's chair. She waked the dragon and roused the bear with a little dog near and a little dog nigh and a steady gleam in his golden eye. But then, like every ballad, there's a turn. And she says she found Orion at last, and then she found he was just like other men. When on his shoulder her head she'd lay, his eye was a million miles away. Because he's stars. It's so clever. And unfortunately, the girl passes and Orion is still unmarried, right? It's a lesson that I think a lot of women can relate to. And I think it's wonderful how she, even though it's sad, the most beautiful part of the song is the woman's journey there to that point, right? Like, whatever makes you jump into the sky and have fun with all of these constellations, I guess. So anyway, my back piece is not done yet. Currently, I only have Orion's eye, so we have a lot of work to do. And it's also a little tricky with my Hashimoto's because tattoos, inflammation, autoimmune, you get it. Anyway, back to Connie. Obviously, I love her a lot. I'm getting a tattoo based on her. I have made a print of her, and this podcast is called Amongst the Lilies. I want to talk about her song I Have Considered the Lilies a bit because I feel like I don't know, not everyone cares that much about lyrics. Sometimes it's more about the musicality. Sometimes it is only the lyrics. I love the musicality of things, but I am also a poet, and so I very much appreciate poetry. Oh man, he's on the table again. Where was I? Where was I? We were talking about, oh, I have considered the lilies. I have considered the lilies. They never toil, they only bloom. They never grow chilly or tired or silly, and they don't need much room. I have considered the lilies. I have considered how they grow. Tell me how to be a lily, if you know. And then the other part of this is equally important, I think. She says, lilies toil not, neither do they spin. I'm gonna take my working papers and turn them in. To be more splendid than Solomon, I walk around wearing the morning sun. The sun by day, the moon by night, and blooming will be my delight. I don't know. I would love to know like what people think of this, what their own interpretations are of this, because obviously there are also biblical references in this song. And another note to make is that there are suspicions that she was a lesbian. We don't know for sure. I think she may have been lesbian. I think it's also possible that she was bi. But we'll never know. Maybe she'll come out of her disappearance one day and let us know. But I'm not counting on that. My interpretation of that song is mostly that she just wants to be the woman that everyone says that she's supposed to be. And she knows how much easier her life would probably be if she was that lily. No toiling, no becoming a spinster, no having to work for a singular income. You know what I mean? And as someone that has grown up in the South, I very much understand that sentiment. She represents so much observance of identity and the feeling of being held back, and then the feeling of breaking free to be who you are. And I don't know if I should say that her disappearance is a cautionary tale on its own, but it does make me realize basically what I talked about in my last video, that if I want my life to be what I really dream of it being in this one life that I have to go for it like my life depends on it. There is no other option. If there were other ways that I would be happy, I would do those things. This is what I want to be happy. And at the very least, I can say I tried to get there. She did too. And now everyone can see that, and her music is changing people's lives. I hope that she knows. But anyway, if you're wondering what this podcast is about, I mean, of course, it is a place where I will just talk about what is on my mind, but I'm a very emotional human. I'm a Leo, and I'm very passionate about a lot of different things. So this is my space to talk about that. And I don't know if I'm a lily, but I am amongst them. And the thing is, they're welcome here too. In the song, she never says anything negative about the lilies. She loves them and wants to be one. One of the last things that she said in her note was, "Human society fascinates me and awes me and fills me with grief and joy. I just can't find my place to plug into it." And meanwhile, the entire time she was creating something that everyone who listens to it just plugs into and falls in love with. And her dreaminess about the world and the way she tells stories the imagery, her narratives are just so beautiful. They inspire a lot of my artwork, and I would like to think that we would be friends. So, that is kind of the core of this. That was what inspired the name anyway. And yeah, Connie Converse means a lot to me. And if you have the opportunity, you should go and listen to her songs. Some of my favorites are, of course, I have considered The Lilies, Honeybee. It's a great one to watch the sunset to. Also, Roving Woman is a funny one. Playboy of the Western World. And, oh, Man in the Sky, of course. Yeah. But there are so many good ones. Like I can't pick an absolute favorite. I will say that some days I don't quite feel like I was meant for this structured world that I'm in. And for a long time, I thought that that was due to some sort of weakness. But I've realized over the years, especially recently, that I am not the only one who feels that way. And I think a lot of us are realizing that actually the system is very flawed and needs some changes. So we can all agree that it's not really that we don't fit in, it's that this thing we've built doesn't quite fit us. And I like that a lot better. We shouldn't let the structure at hand prevent us from dreaming bigger because it is possible. And also, let this be a reminder to hang on a little bit longer to your dream because you might leave like 2 months before the revival of the thing that you're doing. That is also that I cannot forget that because I would be beside myself in a negative way if I would hate Bob Dylan if that happened and I gave up right before. I wouldn't hate him, I would be jealous. But anyway, that's enough lore for today. Let me know if you have heard of Connie Converse before and maybe you know something about her that I didn't mention. If you've listened to any music by her, I would love to know what your favorite song by her is. Or let me know if this is the first time you're hearing about her because I love knowing that. And also, there is a print in my shop. I believe it's still in stock, but I'll restock if I need to. But yes, go check that out. I also have Malmy's Cozy Mail Club. I've already sent out July's mail, but you can still join in time for August. And it's only $5 a month, and you get a postcard from me, as well as a little sticker and a little side quest. Oh, I mentioned this in the last one, but if you are interested in building your credit score and you don't want to go into debt because that scares you, I highly recommend the credit builder card from Current Baking. It sounded like I said banking. And if you use my referral code, when you set up your direct deposit and get a direct deposit, I think over like $200, you will get an extra $100, and so will I, which is pretty cool. So I'm not sponsored by them, but I do have that referral code. I have been using them for years. They have helped me raise my credit score from like the 500s to the 700s. So highly recommend. Go check that out. And now this is the thing that I do. Okay. I do this a lot on Instagram Reels or my TikToks. So if you need this kind of reminder on those, follow me there too. But I like to tell you about how important it is to actually exit this device that you're staring at and go live your life. Go do something in the real world. Go do that thing that you've been putting off. Go do that thing that would actually change your life a little bit. Go do that thing that would get you a little bit closer to your dream. Is it inconvenient? Yeah. Okay. You're saying your dreams are inconvenient? Think about how your dreams feel when you say that. Anyway, this is your time to get off of your phone and go live your real life because it's beautiful. So, I love you. Get off your phone, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.